Today, we're going to start to install the kitchen details into our tiny house project. This is going to be a long video. There's a lot of steps to it. So you can just pause this and complete the steps as I do them on this project. I need to tell you that for some of you, you'll have to redesign some, if not your entire kitchen. Hopefully your kitchen fits in fine, but the first time I tried to put a kitchen in, it did not fit the way that I had intended it to work on my sketch, so I had to do some redesign work. But I'm going to go ahead and start putting a kitchen in on this project and show you how to get started with that. The first thing I'm going to suggest that you do is to put these roof faces into another design layer so that we can turn it on and off easily. Over here, you'll see I have the navigation palette open. If you don't have that open, we can just go to Windows Palettes, Navigation, and open that up. And right now, you'll see that I only have one design layer. That's where everything is on my object. All I'm going to do is go into Tools, Organization, and I'm going to go to Design Layer, and I'm going to create a brand new design layer and just call it Roof. And I'm going to put my roof faces into this new design layer. So I've got my roof layer now and my design layer. This check mark just tells us which layer is the active layer. So I'm still going to have my design layer as the active layer. I can just toggle that check mark back and forth. I can also change it right up here in the view bar if I want to. So right now you can see that my roof layer has shown up right here. If I go to that roof layer, there's nothing on there. Everything's just grayed out. I'm going to go back to the design layer. And what I'm going to do is take these roof faces and I'm going to move them from design layer 1 to the roof layer right here. You'll see that it graded out when I did that. Now, I don't like it set up that way. Some people do, but I don't. So I'm going to go into View, Layer Options, and I'm going to do Show Snap, Modify Others. But now what I'm going to do is just make my roof layer invisible down here in the Navigations toolset. So now it's just like my roof isn't there. I can go into Top Plan. I can work on my kitchen. And there's no roof faces in the way anymore. If I want to turn those back on, it's just a matter of clicking, making the roof visible right here. So I'm going to leave that turned off for right now as I get started on my kitchen. Over in our Furniture and Fixtures palette, there are a few tools that we'll use. We're going to be using the base cabinets, wall cabinets, countertop, and if you have a pantry cabinet, a full-size pantry cabinet, we'll just use this utility cabinet tool. Only use these cabinets and countertops for this project. Just use these. Same thing with the doors and windows. We only want to use these. Don't use any that you find in the Resource Manager. We will, though, be finding all of our appliances in the Resource Manager and the handouts folder that I shared with you. So let's get started here. I'm just going to click on the base cabinet tool. I'm going to drag one in here and just show it to you. There's just the stock base cabinet. Right in my kitchen there. Now that one is the standard base cabinet that we could use for this project. Over here in the Object Info palette, we can have the counter turned on or off. Right now it's turned off. I'll click that and there's a countertop on it. We'll be able to use that standard countertop for everything except for our sink front. We'll be taking it off for our sink front. But there's a standard cabinet. Now, most of you are going to have smaller cabinets. We can just change the length of that. Just like that. We can also change it from a standard cabinet to a sink front. we will need a 30-inch sink front for this project. It looks the same, but it makes it hollow so that we can put a sink in there. We also could have corner cabinets. I'm going to need to make that a little bit bigger for the corner cabinet. There's also a diagonal front corner cabinet. But for right now, I'm going to leave it as the sink front or the standard cabinet. There's also these drawer bases that we can turn it into for a drawer base if we want to. So I've got my standard cabinet right there in the kitchen. So that's how we'll start to put in those cabinets. Now, we also have, like I said, the appliances that we need to worry about. What I've done is I put in a file. I'm going to open it right now in handouts. So I'm just going into CAD 1 in the handouts folder. And there's a file called Range 24 and Corner Cabinet. I'm going to just open that up. And here we have the range and corner cabinet that you could use for this project. The reason I put the corner cabinet in there is because we have to make a couple of adjustments to that to make it match up with the other cabinets that are available. So I included that one. There is not a 24-inch range, and that's the requirement for this project. So I've made up this, I edited a symbol and put that in here just so you didn't have to go ahead and edit a symbol. I'm just going to take those two things and I'm going to copy them into my file by using copy, file close. And I'm going to paste those in there. Now I'm going to get started arranging some of these things. My range on my project is just going down into this corner. I do have a 48-inch wall cabinet and base cabinet that goes next to that. So that'll be going in here somewhere. And then I have my refrigerator that's going to be over in this corner, all on this wall. So let me go ahead and start to arrange those. What I'm going to do is draw a 24-inch line right here and lock that line. Make it a little thicker so it's easier to see. I'm going to lock that line. That's how I would install the first cabinet. So if I had a cabinet that was going into this kitchen, I would just take that cabinet, take that line, and align distribute to put that first cabinet in. That's what I would do to put that first cabinet in there. The reason you want to do that is because if you try to drag that and click that in to that corner spot and it goes into the wall, even just by 1/1000th of an inch, it'll mess up all of your framing plans when we get to that step on this project. So draw a line on the corner of the wall, lock it, and align a cabinet to it. Right now, this still says base cabinet. If that were into the wall, even by 1/1000th of an inch, it would say base cabinet in wall, and it would mess up the project. Now, all I'm going to do is move this cabinet over to the left 24 inches. And I've got that cabinet in place right where I need it to be. Now, if I wanted to, I could lock both of these things. They're in place where I want them. And at this point, I could get rid of this locked line so I don't forget about it. And I've got those two things in place right where they're going to be going. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is try to find the refrigerator that I'm going to use. So you can search that. For me, I know that there's a file and a refrigerator in Objects Architecture, and there is Elements Architect Sampler. And you can see there's all kinds of different things in here. Oh, they are just the textures. Let's go to all resources. And I am just going to I don't see it down there. Let's do an appliance search. And what I'm looking for is a smaller refrigerator. That is not a built-in like those. Here it is. So I'm just going to make active this small refrigerator. And that will fit right into this space right here. Here we go. Now I want to allow about 3 feet of space to move around in this kitchen for the next part. So I'm just going to go ahead and just to give myself a guideline, I'm going to draw in a 3-foot rectangle here. And I'll use that as floor space for where the next parts of my kitchen are going to go. Next thing I'm going to do is find a dishwasher. That's going to go right in there somewhere. I'm going to put in another base cabinet. This one is going to become my sink base. So I'm going to change that to a sink front. On your specification page, it tells you that that's a 30-inch sink front. So that's the minimum size for the sink front that we're going to be using. Then I'm even going to add in over here another drawer base cabinet. I'm going to try 18 inches to start. And that's going to go right over there. Now I also need, over top of the dishwasher, I also need a counter. So that's when I said we were going to use the countertop tool over here. We are going to put a separate counter over top of that dishwasher. So I clicked on the countertop tool, and that's just going to be a 24-inch counter over top of the dishwasher. Now all I'm going to do is draw in a little line right there at my 3-foot marker and lock this. And that'll give me a guide where I want this counter to be. It's about 3 feet away from the refrigerator. Again, everybody's going to have different situations and different problems we run into, but that is how I'm going to arrange my kitchen. I'm going to lock that counter and then be able to align the other parts and pieces to that. So the dishwasher that's below there, I'm just going to align those by their center bottom points. This next sink front, I'm going to align just the countertops right in a row here. They'll snap, if I'm careful, they'll snap right into place. And there is the start for my kitchen project. There's going to be a separate video where I'll show you how to add the kitchen sink. And there'll be another video for changing all the textures for the countertops. But right now, I'm pretty happy with how this is working out. Now, the next time you see my kitchen, you'll see there's some major changes. This window disappears, and I put a trapezoid window up in the top area here so I could put wall cabinets in there. I have a range hood over top of it. I also just did this. And I know a lot of you have this feature, so I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. I put in a wall. The bar stool height for a breakfast bar is 42 inches. So I'm just going to make a 40-inch wall. Right now, I just have that wall set at 40 inches. It's slightly taller than the backsplash on my counters. There you go. I have a slightly taller wall in there now behind my counters. And all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to use my rectangle tool. And I'm going to draw in just anywhere between 12 and 16 inches. I'm going to use 14 inches. And I'm just going to move this down an inch or two. I'll try 2 inches now. I'm going to go ahead and fillet this right away. And now all I'm going to do is take that breakfast bar that I've drawn and extrude it. And put the bottom Z at 40 inches, the top of the wall height. Now I've got the look that I wanted for this kitchen. With the breakfast bar for dining, the dishwasher, sink base, drawer base, 48 inches of wall and base cabinets. I'll have the 24-inch range and the 30-inch refrigerator. And right now I'm just looking for something because that, there we go. That looks much better. So now we've got everything in there for our kitchen. That's how we'll get started adding the kitchen appliances, counters, and cabinets.